Welcome, folks. We're going to wait as people join the webinar. Good afternoon. As you're joining, we're just going to wait for a moment or so for more people to get on to the webinar. Welcome. We see more folks slowly joining, so we're going to wait a moment or two to get started here. Well, I think we'll get rolling. Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Lori Prince. I serve as the Director of Parent and Family Engagement at Seattle University, and we're excited to offer some of our families and supporters information on our newest telehealth care option for students. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Chris Fiorello, who is the Director of our Wellness and Health Promotion Office, to get us going. Chris?
Good morning, and thank you so much for coming to the webinar about TimelyCare. As Lori said, my name is Chris Fiorello. I'm the Director of Wellness and Health Promotion here at Seattle University. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm really incredibly excited to provide this opportunity for you to see a little bit about TimelyCare and get to talk to our TimelyCare representative, Griffin Sharp, who is a client success leader with TimelyCare. The TimelyCare project really comes out of several years of advocacy from our Seattle University student government, graduate student council, and student bar association that's wanted to see more resources available to students. And we really feel like we have a product and that we've paired with a company that does an excellent job of providing wellness resources and support, as well as telehealth and telecounseling support to students, and that is TimelyCare. The funding for this came from our student wellness fee. So the resources that you're about to hear about come at no additional cost. They don't take insurance, they don't charge for visits. It is all provided and funded through our student wellness fee at Seattle University. Throughout the presentation, feel free to ask questions in the Q&A. I will be there trying to respond to those. I've been working with Griffin and Michaela, who are over at TimelyCare for quite a while now, to help bring this to you. I also just want to acknowledge a few people who also helped make this happen. James Willett, our Dean of Students, Kim Kaluza, our Director of Counseling and Psychological Services, and Tara Hicks, our Director of the Student Health Center, who are really integral in helping to get this implemented so quickly. And so that being said, please, any questions you have, add them to the Q&A in button that you can click below, and I will turn this over to Griffin to start us off.
Great, thanks so much, Chris. I'm going to go ahead and start us off by just sharing my screen so we can all see the slides that we've prepared today. As Chris mentioned, my name is Griffin Sharp. I am the Client Success Leader here with TimelyMD. I oversee all of our client success operations nationwide. I work with several different schools, colleges, and universities around the country. And we're really just happy to be partnered with Seattle University to offer these great services that students are now able to utilize. And so today, really, our goal is to provide you with an overview of what the TimelyCare platform is, what students have access to through these services, and how they can get access to the services that are available through Seattle U. And so I always like to start here on this screen. If you have a phone, if you want to scan this QR code, I would encourage you to do so. If not, you can always visit TimelyCare.com/SeattleU at any point. That's a great starting point to learn more about what this platform is, what these services are. There's a FAQ section there. It's also where we direct students to when they're looking to register a free account and get started on the TimelyCare platform. So I would highly recommend at some point, either during this presentation or following this presentation, to take a look at that website, look and explore. There's a lot of great information there. There's even some student quotes, testimonials. And as I said, that is the best place for a student to go to sign up an account when they're ready to use the platform. So what is TimelyCare? We've talked a little bit about what this is. I think we've said virtual, we've said care, health and well-being, wellness, all of these great things. But exactly what is the TimelyCare platform? It is a 24/7, 365 virtual health and well-being platform that students at Seattle U can access and use at no cost to them. So on this platform, we are able to provide a variety of different services that students are able to access at any point while enrolled at Seattle U. I'm going to dive into those services a little bit more in greater detail in a second, but just to recap what we're offering students, it includes medical services, Talk Now, which is an on-demand mental health resource, scheduled counseling, psychiatry, and health coaching, among a couple other services that we'll talk about. And as I mentioned before, all of these services can be available or are available through TimelyCare.com/SeattleU. They're also available on the TimelyCare app. So students have two ways of accessing the TimelyCare platform. They can either do so through their smartphone by downloading the TimelyCare app and opening the app up and accessing care that way, or they can use their computer through TimelyCare.com/SeattleU. As Chris mentioned, we're able to provide these services to students at no cost. At no point in the registration process or in the visit process do we ask students for credit card information or insurance information. Students can simply go on to the TimelyCare app or through that website, sign up for a free account, and then access services and get connected with a medical or mental health provider at no cost to them. And all of our providers on our platform are student focused. I always like to make a point when talking about the TimelyCare platform and the providers that we have on this platform to mention that we're not working with large hospital systems or large employer groups. At TimelyCare, we are focused on serving students in a higher education setting. So when we bring providers on board into our network to serve students, we make sure that they are that they have experience working with students, that they're excited to work with students, they are equipped and ready for helping students regardless of what stage of their higher education journey they are in. And so we really pride ourselves on having a large, expansive, and diverse background of providers who are student focused, ready to engage with students of all different levels. So before I dive into some of these services in more detail, I wanted to highlight a couple other services that were not on that previous slide. We do offer faculty and staff support to the faculty and staff of Seattle U. So at any point, if there is a faculty or staff member who is concerned about a student, they can use the TimelyCare platform to call us, contact our support team, who can get them connected with somebody to help them navigate that situation, whether that means helping to just equip that faculty or staff member on how to best have that conversation with a student, how to best direct them to resources, whether that's on the TimelyCare platform or in person on campus at Seattle U. And so we do offer faculty and staff support and allow faculty and staff to use this if there is a concern about a student. We also offer what we call TimelyCare sessions. And so TimelyCare sessions are group sessions that students can use if they're looking to improve their overall health and well-being, or if they're looking for exercises to improve their mental health or complement some of the care that they're receiving through the other services. And so this includes guided meditation, virtual yoga, monthly discussions on topics around mental health that where we bring in our actual providers to talk through some specific situations. So students who might not be ready for that one-on-one level of care always have access to those TimelyCare sessions to engage in their health and well-being in other ways. And so to dive into some of the sessions in a little bit more detail, as I mentioned, we do have the medical service that's available. This service can help students who are dealing with anything from cold symptoms, viral symptoms, bruises, sprains, strains, headaches, sore throats, runny nose, earaches, skin rashes, UTIs. A whole host of conditions can be treated through our virtual medical service. And so this is a great service where students can get connected 24/7 within a matter of minutes to a medical professional who can help figure out what's going on. And so our medical team is also able to write prescriptions. So if there is a prescription that is needed, the student can indicate their preferred pharmacy, and that provider can send that prescription over to the pharmacy to be picked up even as soon as later that day. If a student needs a prescription refill for whatever reason, I'll use myself as an example. I have asthma. I ran out of my asthma medication, called in to the medical service, was able to have a refill sent to my local pharmacy to be picked up within a matter of a couple hours. And so if a student is running low on a medication that they do need refilled, they can call in, and our providers team will have a visit with them and can help get that refill for them if that's needed. And so this medical service is really great. And one of the things that I'll talk a little bit more on some of the other services, but we are partnered with Seattle U to make sure that if there are any urgent situations or crisis situations, we're communicating with their care teams on campus to make sure that there's a high level of care that's being provided, and that our teams are communicating to address any issues should they arise in person or through our platform virtually. We're working with them to make sure that the follow-up, if follow-up is needed, that is provided with the student to make sure that they are supported in any given situation. We next have our scheduled counseling service. This is a licensed therapy service that's available to all students. Students have access to scheduled counseling sessions through our platform. On this service, students have the ability to select their preferred provider from a list of available licensed providers in the state that they're calling in from. They can select that provider, a time that works best for them, and then can have that license visit virtually, again, through their computer, through their smartphone, with the provider of their choice. And so this is clinical licensed therapy that is provided through the scheduled counseling platform on the TimelyCare system. We also have Talk Now. It skipped over it for a second, but we also have Talk Now. And so scheduled counseling is the scheduled arm of our mental health services. Talk Now is the on-demand side of our mental health resources. And so Talk Now gives students the ability to connect with a mental health professional 24/7, 365 within a matter of minutes. So if a student is up late experiencing test anxiety, they can call in at 2, 3 a.m. in the morning and get connected to somebody who can help talk them through whatever's going on. And so this is a really great service for students in that moment who need to talk to somebody, but are not sure where else to go. They can access the Talk Now service. And this could be anything from a crisis situation, suicidal ideations, for example, all the way down to test anxiety, stress, symptoms of depression, roommate trouble, maybe conflict that's going on internally with a different relationship. All of these things can be handled through Talk Now. We also have the psychiatry service that's available for students. This works a little differently than the other services. This is not something that a student would see right away on their account. This works based off of a referral code that the student would be given once referred to the psychiatry service. And so if a student is referred to psychiatry, we would work with the Seattle U team to make sure that that student got access through an access code where they would add that service onto their account and could then select their preferred psychiatry provider and access the psychiatry care network. On our psychiatry service, we are only able to prescribe non-controlled substances. So per telepsychiatry national legal guidelines, we are not able to prescribe controlled substances like ADHD medications, benzodiazepines, and things of that nature. But we would work with a student to evaluate. And if that is a need for that student's treatment plan, we would work with the Seattle U team to find an in-person resource for that student to get them connected so that they could receive that medication. We have health coaching that's also available through this platform. And so health coaching includes a number of certified health coaches and nutrition specialists that students can book a visit with to talk through really anything in that health and well-being space, whether that's improving exercise habits, sleep habits, discussing nutrition questions, mindfulness, healthy eating, body image, weight management, meal planning. All of these items can be discussed on our health coaching platform. So if a student is looking to improve their overall well-being or create a well-being plan, health coaching is a great option that connects students to a certified health coach who can help guide them through some of those questions and create a well-being plan for them that they can then follow. I mentioned our TimelyCare group sessions. These are a few examples of the sessions that we're able to offer. We do have virtual yoga, guided meditation. These happen regularly throughout each month and are always available to students to utilize. If you have gone to that TimelyCare.com/SeattleU landing page, if you scroll a little down, you'll see the examples of some of the live sessions that we have currently available. Typically, we have anywhere between 2 to as many as 10 sessions that students can register for at any given time. Sessions on the landing page are live sessions that students can register for. And then we also have a selection of on-demand sessions that students have access to right through their TimelyCare account. So there's an Explore tab on each student's account that the student can click and get access to on-demand sessions if they would like to do a session at a time that's convenient for them. I also want to just talk a little bit about our care navigation team. And so in addition to all of our clinical providers that we have on the platform, we also have a care navigation team who follows up with each student after every single visit. And so this team is designed to help answer any additional student questions following their visit. So we'll follow up with a student, ask them how they're doing, see if they have any additional questions. If there was a referral that was made, this team can help a student navigate that referral, book a follow-up visit, whatever that next step in their care journey might be. And so this team is there to help support students and really make sure that students have all their questions answered and have a clear understanding of any next steps after their visit. I mentioned the faculty and staff support service a little earlier. I won't spend too much time on that, but again, this service is designed so that faculty or staff members who have a concern about a student have this as a resource that they can tap into, and our providers team can help them navigate those difficult conversations and help them direct a student to the appropriate resource that can provide them some support. And so how does a student start a visit? As I mentioned, the best place to start is that TimelyCare.com/SeattleU. When I work with students and present to students, I always have them from the very beginning count how many times I say that URL. I'm sure it's been 4 or 5 at this point. To start, it'll bring them to their Timely Care land, something like this. This landing page is pretty lengthy, so you can feel free to scroll through that and all of the great things that we have available to students. But a couple things I do want to highlight here. Number one, that sign in button that a student would have access to. And so once a student is ready to create their free Timely Care account, they can click sign in, and then it will walk them through the registration process, which is very similar to an intake form at a doctor's office or licensed therapist's office. And so the registration process does take anywhere between, I would say, 3 and 5 minutes on average. I always like to encourage students to register an account before they might need a service. That way they'll have it handy. And if and when they do need to access their Timely Care account to get connected with a medical or mental health provider or health coach or group session, they'll be able to log in quickly and get connected quickly to that resource. So I would encourage all of you on this webinar, if you do have a student who hasn't registered an account yet, I would encourage you to encourage them to register an account. It's a support resource that they can have in their back pocket 24/7, always good to have right there. You'll also notice the get the app button. And so a student who does go to this website on their phone, if they scan one of those QR codes and they're looking to sign in, it'll prompt them to download the Timely Care app. And so that button brings them directly to the App Store from their mobile device, where they can download that app and go through a similar registration process just through their smartphone. We have the sessions button that will direct a student down to the live group sessions on the landing page. We have an FAQ that's very extensive at the bottom of the page that helps any lingering questions that might exist. And then we have our contact button as well on this page. And so if there is another question, or if a student is having technical difficulties, they can contact our 24/7 in-house customer support team, who can help work with them to troubleshoot whatever might be going on. And we have multiple ways for students to contact that support team. You can see here, this is featuring the chat feature, a little bubble down in the bottom corner of the screen, where a student can type in a question and connect with a live member of our support team through a chat. They can call in to our customer support phone number, or they can email help@timely.md to communicate via email. And so once a student is ready to log in, they're going to do so through the single sign-on that's available through Seattle U. And so a student does not need to create a new username or new password when accessing Timely Care. So if this is looking at the app view, if they're logging in online and they click that sign-in button, it's going to bring them directly to the single sign-on page where they would enter in their school credentials. It will redirect them back to our platform and allow them to complete their account. If they're accessing the service through the app, they would simply type in their Seattle U email address to start. It would recognize them as a Seattle U student, then bringing them to that single sign-on page where they would enter in their school credentials to log in to their account. And I'm going to skip over. I usually have a video at this point, but just in the interest of time, and it's not letting me go forward. There we go. In the interest of time, and because we've updated a couple things in that video. It's not quite ready to be seen just yet, but that video just recaps everything that we've talked through already, from the sign-in process through having a visit. But ultimately, I do want to save enough time for questions at the end. But as a student is getting ready to use this service, it's a pretty simple process to get registered and get access to care. A student would simply sign in with their Seattle U credentials. They would complete that registration process. Then they would have access to all of those services that we mentioned that you can see on this screen, except psychiatry, which does, as a reminder, appear after a student is referred to that service. Students do have the ability to have a visit either via either the phone or through their video. So if they do prefer to have a phone call with a provider, they can select that as an option. They also have the ability to select a video visit, which would look very similar to FaceTime on a phone or Zoom if they're accessing the video visit through their computer. During that visit process, it will also ask them to indicate a reason for their visit. It will confirm a phone number in case there is a disconnect that happens in the technology at any point. The provider will have a phone number that's confirmed by the student to follow up and reconnect to make sure that the conversation can continue. And so I do want to save enough time for questions at the end if there are some, but if you do have questions afterwards, please feel free to either reach out to our support team or you can email wellness@seattleu.edu. As Chris mentioned, we work very closely with between our teams. And so we're always happy to answer any questions if you want to use that as an email address to contact the Seattle U team with any questions about this new service. But I will stop there and I'll check with Chris in the chat, see if there's any questions that we can help answer at this time.
Thanks, Griffin. There are a couple of questions already in the Q&A. The first one is, how can one check the references of the healthcare providers in the program? And I would extend this question to sort of say, what does TimelyCare screening process look like for healthcare providers and for counselors?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so in our provider recruiting process, we really make sure to vet our providers on a few different levels. So we're making sure that they're board certified before joining our network, licensed in that area. They go through a hiring process where we do ask for some references that they can provide to our team. If someone is looking to access references for that provider, that's something that they might have to contact our support team about, so that we could look into seeing if we can provide references for that provider. But we do ask for that in the hiring process prior to bringing a provider on board. So they have to fill out an application, provide references, provide their licensure information, which we double check and do a background check on them for all of our providers that join our platform to make sure that we're bringing on providers that not only have experience, who are licensed, but also are going to provide a high quality level of care for students. How does a student get a referral code for psychiatry? That is going to come through the on-campus team at Seattle U. So if a student is referred to psychiatry, we're going to work with the Seattle U team to get that student an access code to get access to psychiatry. So that referral can happen in a few different ways. Sometimes that happens directly from Seattle U.
We actually clarified this with Michaela, so we have a slightly different process than some of the other schools.
Okay, go ahead, Chris.
So all psychiatry referrals are going to go through our student health center, and that's because there are a number of different psychiatry medications that can be handled by our nurse practitioners in the student health center, as well as the psychiatric nurse practitioner within the student health center, especially if those medications are already well managed prior to coming to Seattle U. At the same time, the student health center will take a look at what the student's concern is, what their particular profile is, and make the determination, is our in-office psychiatric nurse practitioner or nurse practitioner is the appropriate referral source, or is TimelyCare the most appropriate? And that's really a clinical decision. So that's why the place to begin is by talking to the student health center, letting them know what you're looking for, and going from there.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris. And so if a student does receive a referral from our platform, that referral actually goes to our care navigation team, who follows up with Seattle U's team to refer the student back to the on-campus resources to go through that process. So hopefully that helps answer the question. And then the student will get the referral code from the Seattle U Health Resources team. Next question I see, where are the live sessions held, online or at the SU campus? Those are held online. So it would be held over a webinar format where a student could register for that session online, or access one of those on-demand sessions, and it would be held virtually for that student. And then I see another question. Please cover again how the student with ADHD can be referred for psych services. I think we might have just answered that question, but to clarify again, if a student does have ADHD, they're going to be going through the SU health and wellness team anyway, and so they're going to be directed to the best available service. In this case, if they do require ADHD medication that falls under that controlled substance category, that team will be working with that student to bring them to the best available resource, which would most likely not be the TimelyCare platform, because we are only able to prescribe non-controlled substances.
I see a quick question here, just asking if a student can fill a prescription for psychiatric medication at the Student Health Center. The Student Health Center is not a pharmacy. However, they are licensed prescribers and can prescribe within the bounds of their particular licensure. So they can see the Student Health Center to have that particular prescription evaluated to see whether they could fill it. The prescriptions themselves will be filled at a local pharmacy. We have plenty in walking distance because we're on First Hill, which is where all of the hospitals are here in Seattle, or where many of the hospitals are here in Seattle. And just to let you know, TimelyCare actually does have a prescription discount code. So if the student does not have pharmacy insurance through their insurance that they normally have, there is a discount code available, or discount card available to them through the TimelyCare platform, which will give them a discount on the medication that they are using.
That's a great point, Chris. There's also another feature that I wanted to mention that was not included in these slides. We do have a multi-party feature that's available through the platform that allows a student to invite a third party to their visit if they would like to. So if a student does want to invite somebody into their visit, they can access that multi-party visit feature, whether that be another counselor, a parent, friend, partner, whoever that might be. They can invite them in to that visit through the multi-party visit feature. So that is available for the student within their visit.
Griffin, did you cover the number of sessions that we have available and the reset of those sessions for scheduled counseling?
I don't believe I did, and I believe it's 12, correct? So 12 sessions. So all students have access to 12 sessions per year on the platform, and those reset every August 1st. So every August 1st, those sessions will reset back down to 0, and the student will have an additional 12 sessions to use between August 1st and July 31st.
And I did answer this one by typing it, but I think it's just a good question to ask and have you answer as well, which is how does one find out about the approach that a counselor, therapist, or psychologist uses before they talk to them? So what does it look like when you're finding or looking for a counselor in the platform?
Yeah, that is a great question. And so when a student does go on to the scheduled counseling platform and is selecting a provider that they want to work with, they will be able to view that provider's profile. And so they'll see a list of providers. And the way that list is organized is by availability. And so the providers that they're going to see at the top of that list are going to be the ones with the soonest availability. And then the student will be able to see a picture of that provider's name, their clinical licensure, they'll be able to click a drop-down arrow and view that provider's specialty areas. That provider usually includes a bio about themselves, how they go and conduct treatment, and how they hold visits. And so the student can make an informed selection of which provider they would like to choose from by going through and viewing those providers' profiles and finding somebody who not only meets their needs for what they're looking for out of therapy, but work with somebody who they're most comfortable with based on that provider's profile. So once they review that profile, if they're comfortable with that provider, then they would select book an appointment, and it would bring them to that provider's availability so that they could see when they could book an appointment. Once they select the time and date that works best for them, it automatically confirms them and sends them a reminder via email and puts that reminder directly on their account. They'll receive follow-ups leading up to that appointment as well. So they'll receive a few reminders to say, hey, don't forget you have a visit coming up on April 20th, for example, at 4 p.m. And so they'll get reminders once they do book that visit, and they'll have the option leading up to that visit. If they need to reschedule or cancel, they can do that easily through their account as well.
Griffin, this one came through from our wonderful event host, Lori, and it is probably one of the most exciting features, in my opinion, of TimelyCare. Can you please talk to us about how students can go about accessing care when they return to a home state that's different than the one than Seattle U's in, or maybe when they go to an internship in another state?
That is a great question. We do have providers in all 50 states. And as I mentioned before, students can access providers who are licensed to treat in the state that they are currently located in. So if they are traveling out of state or back home from Washington State, for example, they can still access these services. They can still access their TimelyCare account. It's available 24/7, 365 during breaks, holidays, after hours, whenever a student might need it. If they are in a different state from when they originally started their care with a provider, they would see again the list of available providers in the state that they are located in. However, if they're not seeing their provider that they originally started their scheduled counseling sessions with, the new provider that they would select would still have access to their visit records and can pick up care where their other provider left off. So if they are looking to seek out care, they wouldn't have to start all over just because it is a new provider. They would be able to pick up the care while out of state. It may be a different provider, but that provider would have all of the background and knowledge of the care that student's received up until that point. And I saw another question come through the chat about about reviews and ratings. So the student doesn't see the provider's review necessarily when they're booking a provider or viewing that provider's profile. However, we do ask students after every visit to rate their visit experience and their provider on a 5-star scale. We track those ratings very closely, and on our side, if a rating does come in that's on the lower end, our care team is notified automatically and follows up with that provider, and we'll follow up with the student to see what might have happened, how we can improve that care going forward. We'll follow up with the provider to notify them of that and work with them to see what could be done to provide a higher level of care going forward. So we do track ratings and ratings very closely. We ask students to rate their provider specifically after their visit. And I believe in our product pipeline that we have as we continue to evolve the services and the platform itself. There have been talks of adding that provider review once we get enough reviews to be able to do that, so that students can see and make an informed selection on their end as well. Great question.
I just want to give it one more second to see if we have any more questions coming in.
I will also mention this as we were talking about access in all 50 states, and Chris also wanted to mention District of Columbia is included in that. If a student is traveling abroad or internationally, they will still have access to the Talk Now platform. And so they can access Talk Now if they're using a US-based phone number or can connect to a US-based VPN while abroad. So Talk Now is still available internationally. The other services are not, but they can still access Talk Now if they do need to get a hold of someone and talk to somebody on the mental health side.
And the reason for that sort of distinction between Talk Now and other services, the scheduled counseling, the medical, providing medical care, those require a very specific state-by-state licensure. Whereas because Talk Now acts more like a crisis line, so you don't have to be in crisis. Your crisis could be, I'm about to take my contract law exam and I'm feeling really stressed out about it and I need to talk to somebody now to talk me down before I go into this exam. So that is what Talk Now exists for. But because it functions more like that type of crisis support, it doesn't require that same licensure. And Griffin, I had to ping you about the District of Columbia because I'm a former resident of the District of Columbia, and we always get left out of that 50-state thing.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And you do. And you know what, Chris, I'm going to remember that from this point on, anytime I give one of these presentations, to make sure we're including DC in there.
Well, I'm not seeing, oh, wait, I think I just saw one question come up. So can a group of friends sign in together for the TimelyCare sessions?
Oh, that's a very good question. So the TimelyCare sessions can be accessed in two different ways. The first way is on the landing page, that timelycare.com/SeattleU. There is a sessions section that will be inclusive of all the live sessions that we have available. So students can register for those sessions. They'll have to register individually for that session, but they can all register at the same time individually for the live session. For the on-demand sessions, those are going to be located within a student's account. So if they're looking to access on-demand sessions at any time, the student would have to access their account and access the session that way. Now, what I'm told is, and what I've seen is, if there's one student who has a TimelyCare account and they access that on-demand session, if they're physically with friends during that time, they could obviously all take part in that on-demand session or in any of the live sessions as well from a single screen. So it's really the registration process is for the screen that is being used for that session. I would recommend for just the ability for us to know who's taken a session for all students to register for those live sessions if they are able to. That helps us know who was able to attend. Are these sessions helpful? Should we have more of these sessions? It helps us better attract attendance numbers. But that is a great question, and hopefully I answered that appropriately.
Well, that's looking like all the questions that we have. Griffin, thank you so much for talking us through the TimelyCare platform, sharing with us. I'd like to remind parents and supporters and families out there that if you have any questions about the TimelyCare platform, please feel free to email us, wellness@seattleu.edu. Any questions that I don't already know the answer to, I will work with Griffin and Michaela, who's our other rep, to get those answers to you. And lastly, I'll just sort of remind you, we have lots of other wellness resources in both in CAPS, Counseling and Psychological Services, our Student Health Center, and Wellness, Health and Wellness Promotion Office here at Seattle U. You would think I would be able to say my own office's name, but I'm having a moment. But if you want to take a look at what some of those are, simply go to seattleu.edu/wellness. And we do have a variety of support services available. We encourage your students to come on over and see us at the Student Center 380. Thanks so much. And Griffin, again, we really appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Chris.
Let me just add my thanks, Griffin and Chris. We're excited to have this additional resource for our students. So family members, you just got some inside scoop about this great piece for your students. And as Chris mentioned, please feel free to look at the other options that he has available to students as well regarding wellness. Thank you all and have a good day.
Thank you.